You don't even know when you're in it how much you live in darkness, idolizing things you think are important. The darkness just takes over.
We've all heard about the horror stories of Los Angeles. Power without accountability, transactional relationships, dreams without protection. This is Lindsey Heppner. She didn't just experience it, she grew up in it.
I was discovered around 14, being everyone's model from Billabong to Element to Paul Frank. It was the darkest moments of my life.
Lindsey is a creative genius. She has helped shape campaigns for brands and creators at the highest level. Her agency, VAMPPED, has redefined what creative marketing looks like today.
That's really why I started my agency, was to protect kids. I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own. I had so much pride.
In this conversation, we do not shy away from the hardest moments of Lindsey's life. We navigate her pain, the darkness, and the challenging road that ultimately brought her to Jesus in a completely different way of living.
You don't really understand the meaning of life, of people, until you're in a situation where you have no one. And I really felt that when I had Lyme disease. The word joy actually exists consistently in my life. And I have to thank Jesus for that.
We started this off in such a somber and vulnerable way.
Yeah, you almost tried to make me cry in the first 2 seconds.
You're listening to the Created to Create show.
If Jesus tells you to do something, you better do it.
I know.
That's my theology.
It's in the Bible. It's a sin if you don't do what you're called to do. So
disobedience, delayed disobedience as well, or delayed obedience. Sorry, delayed obedience is disobedience.
Okay, well, I'm not done with the 10 commandments, and I got called out yesterday to do the final one, so I know it's delayed. So I feel that it was actually really funny because my Bible was on Samuel, and then I looked over again. It was on Exodus of the 10 commandments, and I was like, I get it. I need to hurry up.
He's convicting you. Well, I want to talk about that actually in depth really quick to start off the podcast.
Yeah.
Really interesting, you guys, what she's doing. But first of all, I just want to thank you again for coming on and just kind of explain a little bit who you are. You're a creative through and through. You are someone who started a creative agency that helps brands create all sorts of content and strategy to push their brand forward. So you're a creative genius in your own right. A lot of the industry would probably say the same about you.
Thank you.
So I want to shine a light there. Yeah. But you're also someone who, because of your creative genius, you think deeply. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because you have a lot to say, but you've thought about everything that you want to say. This isn't just a yap sesh. So I just wanted to set that precedent, because I can yap. Everybody knows I can yap. You know, people who know you probably say the same thing. But things that we're talking about, we've already chatted about. We've already sat down and mulled over and prayed over. So I just wanted to tell the audience that, because I think that's really important to know before even jumping into some of these topics. But tell me about the 10 commandments. What's happening there?
Oh, man. I have been on a journey the last 3 months. Specifically, God has asked me to, and guys, I read the Bible every day, and when I was asked to do the 10 commandments, I was kind of like shutting down Instagram, deleting all my posts, kind of just recharging back into this new environment that I wanted, which was the Bible, getting off social media. And then the Holy Spirit spoke to me and was like, no, I want you to do the 10 commandments. I was like, what do you mean? I don't know them very well. I don't know them at all.
What does that mean for like anybody who's not even aware of the 10 commandments? What does do the 10 commandments even mean?
Yeah, so Moses was spoke to by God, and he wrote out the rules of which we should follow and serve the Lord. And the 10 commandments basically are the 10 laws to provide a better life and to serve others and to serve people well. And as I'm doing them, I'm realizing it's a restructuring of your mind, a restructuring of your heart, and building a better vessel for others. That's really what I figured out doing this. And there were so many signs. I mean, I'm a very obedient person, very disciplined. Anyone who follows me knows, like, when it comes to working or the gym or cooking or being a friend, or just anything I say I'll do to the fullest.
Right.
So
very type A, I've come to realize. Yeah,
I am. But
you're creative as well. Like, you have that creative mind.
Yeah, I think I have both. I'm both, right and left brained. But when it came to this, I was like, this is a very big undertaking. And I was like, okay, I'll learn the 10 Commandments. And then he was like, no. You're going to actually post all of them and get real with everyone about this. And I was very terrified because I had to show up. I didn't want to give false testimony. I'm not that person. Right. So anything I say or believe, I want to talk from biblical truth. And I also I don't want to deny, how God speaks to me, which is like, do things and show people in action, not just say things just to say things. So I actually had to operate in a way in the last 3 months, living out these commandments and then showcasing them online.
It's very uncomfortable, I'm sure, to do.
Oh yeah.
As a sinner.
Yeah. And every single one hit me really, really hard. I'm still finishing out the 10th one. I think I'm really terrified by the 10th one.
What's the 10th one?
So it's the covenant of your neighbor.
Oh, wow.
And when you really dive deep into that, it's the envy of others and what they have. And I think I'm living in a time in my life where family, getting married, having kids is a very vulnerable place for me.
Yeah. And
to see all of that in such like a way on Instagram that it's glorified, that everyone's life is perfect.
Right.
I really have to dig deep into my heart and really understand that you want to be happy for others and not be envious and not be jealous. And I'm only human, right? And we all want what others have, and we all think that everything looks great on the other side of the fence. And I'm not to say that someone may be looking at me and thinking I have everything together and my lifestyle's great, but we're all, I think that's why it's one of the commandments is appreciate what you have, love what you have. God is so good and God's timing is so beautiful. And, really, really count your blessings as they're coming. Because sometimes what you pray for might not really be what you want at that moment. And waiting for his timing might be better.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, I like all of that a lot. I mean, I have so many thoughts, like, right off the bat. I feel like we could talk about this for like an hour. But one thing I wanted to even clarify or point out is the fact that the goal of this isn't necessarily to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like you didn't necessarily get a word and you're like, oh, I got to do the 10 Commandments. I got to be perfect for God.
Yeah.
What was that born out of then for you? Like, can you explain the motivation behind or the conviction behind I need to do the 10 Commandments? Because the 10 Commandments were originally created in the Old Testament before Christ came and died on the cross, for those who haven't necessarily read the Bible much. And it was in a time where, like, the Israelites, God's people, needed guidance, and they needed like a list of rules of things not to do. So at that point, it was like, do the 10 Commandments. This is pretty much your salvation. Now it's way different because Christ came, veil was torn, he died on the cross, rose again 3 days, all of that.
Yeah.
So for you, what is that conviction then to do that, and your personal story? We're getting a very vulnerable here.
Yeah. Well, he was basically structuring me for my husband.
Okay.
So, and I knew that, right when I did the commandment of respect your father and mother, I realized all the relationships that are my father, besides, my father in heaven,
Right.
I don't have a relationship with.
Wow.
And the man that I want to be with, when I sit back and think about the type of man I want to be with, he's not going to be excited to be with a woman who doesn't have relationship with men, especially men that are, leaders in your household.
Yeah.
And so that was like the biggest eye opener for me, that I had to really come with conviction and humility and realize that I'm the problem.
Wow.
I can't wait for these men to apologize to me or say, you're the child, it's my fault. I had to come with humility, and after 22 years of not talking to my father, reach out, find where he's living, and apologize for my side of the story.
Wow.
That I've been telling myself for 22 years that it's his fault.
Wow.
And
That's
then,
so hard.
Yeah. And then breaking bread with my stepdad, who I have not had a relationship for 16 years.
Jeez.
And letting him know that it's my fault, that I'm the reason we're not talking.
Jeez.
And that all happened within the same month.
Wow.
And so you can only imagine, and I'm getting chills right now.
Me as well.
You can only imagine the little girl inside of me realized, like, I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own. I had so much pride. And the Lord saved me in that way. Because the man that is going to be next to me wants me to have intentional relationships and to have less of a hardened heart. And what had taught me from all of that is I have so much hardening throughout all the years. I've been running away from the one thing that God wants us to have, is to have love in our heart. So just with that commandment, that was such a blessing that I would have never have known to do. I could have lived my whole life without talking to both of them.
Yeah. And maybe be justified in it too, I'm assuming.
100%. And being
like...
Because
my main question is like, from the outside looking in, like, not that you have to go into the whole story, but from the outside looking in, were you at fault? Like, what were you at fault, or were they at fault? Like, and what does that look like for you to come and say that you're at fault and humble yourself, even when from the outside looking in, maybe you weren't at fault?
I'm at fault because I didn't operate the best way that I could, where Jesus, you could see Jesus through me. That's how I knew I was at fault.
Yeah.
The way I operated, I think the worst thing you can do to someone is avoid them. People would rather you talk bad to them than avoid them. It is the most hurtful thing ever to make someone feel like they don't exist. And I did that to both of them. And that is on me.
Wow. Yeah, that's so heavy. I'm like going through and thinking like through my life as well, and thinking and reflecting on relationships where I've done that as well, or I've even felt it, and just even be convicted now of when I've done that to people and I've made them feel like they're not even in the same room as me.
Yeah.
And then I've thought about the moments when I've been yelled at, or the moments where I've like expressed frustration. And you're totally right. I mean, the contrast between the two is crazy, because the silence goes on forever, but the loudness of frustration ultimately comes to a conclusion or a solution of some sort.
Yes, because yelling is also a sign of communication.
It is.
Avoidance and this whole trend of ghosting people and not communicating is what is heavy on everyone's hearts.
Right.
Someone would rather have you tell them the truth, even if it hurts them, than to ghost them and feel like they're not even worthy of hearing from you.
Wow. Yeah.
I try so hard not to ghost anybody. I don't even remember the last time I did. I try my hardest to be very honest on how I feel. Sometimes, you know, my delivery is not great, and I know that, and I think that's something that is, I love that my friends give me a lot of grace, but I know that's my shortcoming, and I have softened that area a lot, and I've realized that I love people so much that they don't deserve to feel cut at the knees. But I do know that people know where they stand with me, which is no one ever feels like I'm fluffing something or saying something just to say it. I will always be truthful, and however that looks, they know they can come to me and I'll give them the truth.
That's huge. That's so huge.
Yeah.
Even just living in LA where we are now and being in the industry. I mean, I know from my experience, but I can only imagine from your experience being that person in a city and an industry where most people aren't that way.
Yeah.
Like what a difference that makes, I'm sure.
The city is built around people trying to get things from others. And so really you come into that place trying to be accepted because everyone's coming, you know, everyone's a plant from some other
industry plant.
Industry plant, some other place, and you're trying to fit in, right? So you don't know who to trust, you don't know who to be around, to associate yourself with, and with that comes this persona of I have to be someone I'm not.
Yeah.
And
got to put the walls up.
Yeah, and also everyone's trying to make it out there, right? So you're just becoming this perceived person, and a lot of times if everyone's doing that, you're mirroring the person next to you, and you start becoming your perceived person.
What's funny too, I'm now thinking about it, like in LA, the goal is to become unique.
Yes.
You want to stand out.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is then at that point, doing that, you start to become like your actual self becomes like everybody else. But then in order to stand out, then you have to create this other persona almost. And that's what I've seen so many times is people who have like different personas. They're, you know, over here, they're one person, they're the energetic person in the room, you know, they're making things happen when they need to be on for their career. But then you actually hang out with them and they're a completely different person, which is usually still not themselves because they're trying to be like everybody else. And then if maybe you get to the third layer, then you're like, oh, you're really not the person that you're leading on to be. And that's a scary feeling to like realize that.
Yeah, I lived through it.
Really?
I had been in LA for 10 years, but even before that, my career started off with being in the industry as a model. Okay. And
that's how you moved out here? Or did you grow up here?
No, I grew up in Orange County.
Okay.
And then the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. So my mom was basically a celebrity when she was younger. She started her music career at 13.
Wow.
And was, you know, touring with the Rolling Stones, being with Elvis, being with the Carpenters. Crazy. And being on American Bandstand, all this stuff. So I was like, how did I get to a point where I just like everyone in my life is a celebrity? And then I realized I grew up in that kind of world with my mom, and that was just her environment. So it kind of came naturally to me to be in that environment too. But I was discovered I think, around 14 as a model. And I just started shooting in the industry. I was very much heavy in the surf world because I grew up in Huntington. And so having a career being everyone's model from Billabong to Element to Paul Frank, I was your girl. And then it came to a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to start trying to do LA. I'm going to start going up there. And it was the darkest moments of my life when I look back, and I feel like those trauma pieces that I experienced up there are in little boxes locked with a key. Because I realized that if you go up there with the wrong idea of what your make it looks like, you will fall very dark in a hole. I want to like name, I don't want that stuff to, you just never know what happens. But I'll start over again. Being out there, you just start meeting really interesting people, and you start realizing what the industry is really about. You don't have to be really great there's so many beautiful people. It's not about that. It's
not about being the best in the business necessarily.
No, not at all. And
what is it about then?
It's about what you will say yes to.
Interesting.
And
how far you'll push the line.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's, we're seeing that in all different types of areas of things when it comes to content or, behind paid walls, things like that. It's more about how much you'll do versus how good you are at your job.
Right.
And that's all I'm going to really say about that. But I saw that firsthand when I was approached to do movies or to do certain things. I was approached to do Playboy at a very young age. And so was my mom. My mom was approached to do Playboy, which is really...
barely over the legal limit type of age?
I was of age.
Yeah. But still very young.
Yeah, but those are the kind of people that would approach... and not just in that segment, but just those kind of people like, hey, do you want to do this? And you just... intuitively, I was like, I don't know. My mom said no to this. I think I'm going to say no to this.
Right.
And where I'm at right now with Jesus, and I really am thankful that, the internet's wild. You just don't know what's going to surface. And
nothing ever dies on there.
No.
Or gets taken off.
Yeah, and it's really, really hard to get things taken off, and I know that firsthand. But those kind of things I experienced at age 14 to, I think I modeled up to like 28. So that's a long career.
14 years.
Yeah, of being in modeling and being in the limelight with the camera in front of me.
Right.
Where I walked away from all of that at that time and was like, I don't think I want to do that anymore. I just felt like you meet beautiful people, but you also meet people that you're just like, how do I wash this off my skin?
Yeah, your skin's crawling even just being around them.
Exactly. Right. And so I saw both, and I think that's really why I started my agency was I really wanted to protect kids that are going into this industry that have no idea what they're getting themselves into, and everything seems great. Especially now with social media, everything seems great. Everyone seems like they know everyone, and they're going to provide for you, and they're not going to screw you over, and it's just not true. You have to know that some people have an agenda, and knowing that side of it when I was really young, I now can see why I wanted to love others well that were under my agency that I managed, to protect them from those kind of people.
Not that we need to go into it all. But what are the sort of effects that had on you going into your like older 20s, early 30s from your time in that industry? Like, what are some of the personal effects that it had that weighed down on you?
I had a lot of trust issues.
Okay.
I trusted the wrong people, and I noticed that going into the agency world, I wanted to do things my way. And I didn't want to listen to anyone else. I wanted my own path. And I just wanted to set the tone for the industry, that you don't have to be in darkness all the time. But the funny thing about that is, when I'm saying that right now and saying that I didn't want to live in darkness, I look back at photos and I was consumed with it. Just visually, you don't even know when you're in it how much you live in darkness, idolizing things that you think are important. The darkness just takes over, and you can't see it when you're in it. But now that I'm out of it, I can see everything.
What are some of those things that you see now that you feel like are so blatant, but you couldn't see when you were there?
The way I dressed was a really big one. And the way I presented my body to the world. I remember a client, a very big client, or the marketing team, we just got along so well. And she called me one day and she was like, I just want to let you know something. I was like, yeah. She's like, if the owner ever looked at your Instagram, we would have to fire you.
Wow.
And I knew right then there was something about that. There's something
it's like
about
an
that.
eye-opener almost.
Oh, yeah. I never thought I never thought of my Instagram that way. Because I was like, oh, I'm with all these influencers. I can look however I want. I can exploit my body however I want. And I grew up modeling. So, like, I was very in touch with my body.
It's very professional in a sense, even still. Like, you have that thought of, well, this was my job, so it's okay that I can, like, put this out there.
Yeah, I almost felt like, okay, I already got this badge.
Right.
So I can still use it.
Yeah.
And not until a client, like, kind of called me out. And even to that moment, I was like, well, then they don't have to work with me. But they still kept working with me, but they just never actually told anyone who I was.
Right.
I think these little seeds that are planted subconsciously, you don't realize that they, like, add up to memories that you're like, I remember those pivotal moments of why I feel the way I feel now.
Right.
Almost like the Holy Spirit, like, talking through to other people.
Yeah. I mean that's how the Holy Spirit works. Like, simply put, it's the Holy Spirit convicts us. The kindness of the Lord leads to repentance, but the Holy Spirit is the one that convicts us, and it's the one that lives with us. So even just the reality of you not following after Jesus at that point in your life, but the Holy Spirit being there by your side, dropping hints left and right, whether it's just an internal thing for you or whether it's a consequence of certain actions that you were taking. I mean, that happens in my life all the time.
Yeah.
And I can look back to the times where I wasn't actually following Jesus, actually, like, wanting to be like him and in realization of what he did on the cross. But there were so many times where the Holy Spirit was like, bro, what are you doing? Or a friend was like, don't do that. I have so many friends who were deep in sin, pick any of them. And it's by the grace of God that I was close with them. And while they're deep in sin, they're, like, looking back out at me and being like, bro, don't do it. Bro, don't go there. because it was always like this weird, and I didn't have full realization at the time, but it was always this weird moment of, you've been doing this for a while, and you're telling me not to do it. Why? And then just asking that simple question, why, would usually start to like make me understand a little bit more. Yeah. And then whenever I was offered it, it was like same as like, I don't know, like I don't really have the greatest feeling, so no.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And it wasn't out of this like conviction of, no, I'm not going to do that, I know the consequences. It was just more of like, I think I'm going to like stay on this side of the road, you know?
Yep.
And I think that's beautiful, because God works in mysterious ways, and God works through a lot of different things. And sometimes there's a reason that you never got into one thing, or you never got as deep as you thought you would go, or someone wanted you to go. And it's to protect your soul, because you were meant to speak into someone's life in a different place, or you were meant to do something at a certain time. And if you had taken that left turn, then you wouldn't be where you need to be at the time where God needs you to like do something, you know?
Yeah, I'm really thankful that at a young age, when I did have a relationship with my father, he always told me never to follow other sheep. Like that was very, very much instilled in my brain when I was young, which I think all my friends can attest that I am very much against the grain. I am a salmon. I will not follow other fish.
My dad taught me the same lesson. Just when we were driving, he would always be like, see the left lane? See how everybody's in the left lane? Don't follow the sheep.
Oh, yeah. And it's just always resonated with everything that I do, when it's just question everything and don't just jump because everyone's jumping. I think that's the problem even to this day in society, is everyone's jumping without asking the question, why am I jumping?
Right.
For anything, right? Why am I saying, yes, men are bad? Why am I saying, you know, go this way, go that way? Everyone's just getting on a bandwagon and they don't even know why they're on the bandwagon. And I feel once we ask the question, is this good for me? Is this good for my soul? Is this what God wants me to do? Do I feel happy at the end of the day? Or am I getting angry, or is my heart hardening? People don't ask these questions. They don't listen to their intuition.
Yeah. And
we're losing that grace for ourselves. That it's okay to not always fit in, right? You don't have to do something to fit in. What I think is smarter is to do something that feels good, that you don't get depressed more, or you don't feel like life isn't worth living anymore. I was there. I was very depressed for a very long time. And that is real. I'm never going to take that away from anyone. That is real. But how did you get there?
Yeah.
You know, what decisions did you make to get there? I know mine was because I didn't have the Lord. I knew that I was relying on my own selfish, prideful, emotional anger and development of my own mind, that I didn't have an anchor in my life that steered me in a right way to be happy no matter what happened through what storm. And that's the difference that I see from not being a follower of Jesus to now being a follower, is things don't really bug me anymore. Like if I go on a date, let's just say I go on a date and it doesn't work out, it does not crush me. I know that God's protecting me some way from that person. Or even if a friendship doesn't work out, I'm all good.
Right.
Whereas before, if that happened in my life, that was a suicidal moment.
Wow.
That was a, I'm going to take my life moment.
Wow.
And
that's dark.
And that's a lot of people right now.
Yeah.
You know, even on things that they think that they believe, you know, that they're just going to hold, I'm going to hold to how I feel about this no matter what. Like people will go to their grave for it. And it's like, at what cost? For all the people you don't talk to anymore, for all like the relationships and family you've lost for it, just to, you know, die on that hill for what? You know, when you can love others and love them well. Yeah.
Well, I would imagine it's some sort of peace, like you're trying to protect something.
Oh, yeah.
My business coach was telling me, well, she had to really hammer this into my mind, but she's like, you're always protecting something. You're always protecting something, whether it's like how you look good, how you feel good, or like an inner security of some sort. You're always protecting something.
Yeah.
So you can either make that choice to like protect the comfort, or you make the choice to go into discomfort, but ultimately have actual peace rather than just like a fake perceived peace.
That is exactly what it is. I had so much discomfort my last year in LA because I knew what I had to do to strip everything away to find peace. And people don't want to do that because it's comfortable to just accept that maybe I am miserable, but it's okay because I like the things around me.
Yeah.
I like doing drugs.
Yeah.
I like looking at porn.
Yep.
I like my day job. It's consistent. I like my friends, even though they're not around when I need them.
Tough.
It's a lot of areas to have to confront when you want peace. And that was the thing that really was the final like breakthrough for me to accept and surrender God was, I'm living in LA and I'm unhappy and I don't enjoy most of the people I'm around because I feel like I'm giving so much and I'm not receiving and I'm not feeling loved, and I'm picking people and my relationships in love out of fear and trauma. And that's a really hard place to be in. And at the end of the day, I was like, who am I trying to get approval from on all this, right? I'm never going to have peace. I'm going to keep getting more sick spiritually, physically, mentally, because what? I'm trying to show everyone my accolades. Like, at what level does that cost everything for you?
It's a lot to think about. It seems like you're trying to like really lay something heavy down for certain people, and we're talking a lot about LA right now, and you know, most people that listen to this aren't necessarily in LA, but like giving a glimpse is really cool into this life, because this is the life I live into. So even people that know me, you know, helping them understand like the dynamic of Los Angeles, and not from a pessimistic standpoint, you know, but from just knowing that God is still sovereign over all, but just addressing the reality. But it seems like you do have something to kind of say to people that are in this reality of wanting to put on a persona for the people around them. What is that?
I just want them to know there's freedom on the other side. And it doesn't get worse. It gets better. I've never been so happy. I've never been joyful. Like, the word joy actually exists consistently in my life. I don't have ebb and flow anymore. I have consistency. And I have to thank Jesus for that. I have to thank that I finally stopped listening to myself and surrendered to him in a way where I was like, okay, God, I'm just going to like let you steer the ship, and I'm going to see what that looks like. And if I have to go back and resort back to my old life, I'll do that, right? If that makes me feel more comfortable. And I almost was kind of just testing the Bible. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start reading the Bible every day. And I wasn't reading the Bible at all in LA, at all. I was like, I want to disprove it. I've never really read it. I want to disprove it.
Interesting. Did you grow up with it?
No. So I was introduced to Christianity through a long time ago, my ex-boyfriend, and I was just kind of like, I don't feel what people are feeling, and I'm a good person. Why do I have to do this, right? And not until recently, me trying to disprove the Bible, I was like, God is so funny, right? And if you hear that term, tell God your plans, to make him laugh, he really, that's really where you're going to get a laugh from him, because
rumble.
I can say my plans all day and that's not what's going to happen. And that's exactly what didn't happen. I contracted Lyme disease. I lost everything.
Oh, wow.
I got into a car accident where I almost lost my life. All these things I didn't plan.
Yeah.
And
that wasn't on,
that was not on the agenda. That was definitely not on
your
the
vision board.
Yeah.
How gnarly of a wreck can I get into?
Yeah. There was no mood board for that. And I really, really was like, I'm going to disprove this Bible while you have me surrender, right? And it was making me happier every day. That was how funny that was. I was like, God, you're funny. Because I'm like, okay.
Reading the Bible?
Oh, reading the Bible and being like, okay, be kind to your neighbor, or say something kind to them, even though you don't like them, right? Or reach out to someone. I remember reaching out to 5 guys that I just like wrote off. And I texted them all, and I was like, so kind to them. I was like, let me see if this works. All of them responded and were like, wow, Lindsey, thank you so much for saying these words. Like, I really appreciate it. And it was like, dang it. You know?
You just get pissed off. You're like,
this
so
works.
mad.
Yeah, this works, right? And so it was just little things like that. I was like, okay, when I got baptized, I decided I'm gonna be pure in all my relationships. Best decision I've ever made. Best
Really?
decision I've ever made. You know why? Because my value that I always have thought about myself was my body.
Yeah.
Not my mind.
Yeah.
I thought I could get any guy through my body, right?
Right.
I just totally put my value on how I hook up with someone, right?
Yeah.
I am so much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Amen.
am so much more than that.
Amen.
And so when I tried to disprove that, I was like, okay, one, it was very scary for me because I was like, no man's going to love me without my body. Right? I had
You're throwing your greatest asset out the window in the dating pool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had the biggest fear.
Yeah.
I can't utilize this to get a man. I have to use my brain and use my heart. Oh man, this is going to be tough for me.
Playing life on hard mode.
Yeah. So I did it.
Yeah.
Right?
And?
The best relationship I've ever had, because we communicated. We went to courses to better our relationship. We opened the Bible every day. I knew he was there to love me because of me, right? He didn't, and I had fear because I'm an abandoned child from early on. So I was like, okay, this man is not going to love me because I can't give up sexual favors, right? And this man loved me more than any kind of love I've ever experienced, because he saw my heart. He saw how much I love the Lord. And I was so close, and we're still really great friends. And the way we respect each other, even to this day, like, what a beautiful thing that God has shown me. That I don't have to do that stuff for a good man to come in my life.
Yeah. That's so powerful, because our culture is built on sex and money, and that being the thing that like attracts people.
Yes.
You know, like how much money does a guy make? How beautiful is a girl? like that's kind of the value of whether or not they're a 5 versus a 10. You know, You see all those things on social media. It's pushed daily. Like everybody's always creating content around that, podcasting around that, like always saying like, you know, oh, rate this girl, rate this guy. Like, what do you rate them? You know, if he's a 10, but he only makes $50K a year, you know, like all that type of stuff. So it's so counterintuitive to culture these days.
Yeah, and I fell victim to it for a really long time. You know, after the honeymoon stage of someone, like being sexualized with them and stuff, it wears off, right? And I always thought in my heart, not my heart actually, my brain before I was Christian, is like, oh shoot, like I'm gonna get really bored of this person. How do people do this?
Yeah,
you know, because after a certain amount of time, you just get bored sexually. And then when I came to the Lord and building a relationship with a man in other ways, I was like, oh, we built our relationship off of God. So I don't have to worry about him going to the gym and staring at other women or like thinking he's texting other girls, because we didn't base our own relationship off of that.
Right.
And it was very powerful to see the actions of it, because he was not interested in any of that. He was interested in what we were building. And so every single day we were learning how to better that in communication, instead of building off of like, well, shoot, like I don't feel sexually attracted to you anymore. How do I get that back?
Yeah.
There was other things that really built our foundation.
Right.
And we wanted to hear what God had to say about our relationship, not what our bodies was saying about our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like physical intimacy, and there's spiritual intimacy, there's mental intimacy, and mental and spiritual intimacy goes so much deeper than physical intimacy, which is a warning, but also it's like really exciting.
Yeah.
Because it gives us as humans, like we as humans require deep connection. And you can go much deeper and explore so much more of each other in a mental and spiritual way, rather than just physical.
Exactly. And our culture is, for how much we're connected, and we know, you know, what we're doing every single second of the day. We are so disconnected with communication on how we talk to each other and how we intentionally love on each other.
So true. Wow.
I spent the last 3 months, I feel like I should have gotten hired by a coffee shop. I spent the last 3 months going on coffee dates with every single person that's new in my life, whether it was a girl I met at church or someone I met randomly at a workout, and just got to know people in real time, right? Without all the noise of doing other things, but just I felt like the Lord wanted me to connect with others that felt like they needed connection, because we're losing that skill set. The thing that makes life so beautiful is that we serve others. That is what I figured out, that our goal and our ability to help others is so rewarding over anything else we do. You don't realize how you touch people. When I think back of all the moments that I remember that are imprinted on me, that are not trauma hidden, but imprinted, those are pivotal moments that stick with you. And I think in the culture that we live in right now too, people don't realize how much words affect others. Like it's so beautiful that we can have freedom of speech. I think it's super important. But the tongue is so powerful that people don't use it sometimes without thinking. They just do whatever they want with it, right? And if we all lost our tongues and we had this language of our bodies and like spoke to people with our bodies, because we're 75% speaking with our bodies,
right?
I think the world would look a lot different, right? We would maybe show up for people differently.
Yeah.
And that was something that I really, really enjoyed reading in the Bible is, you know, you're either blessing or cursing someone. And to be reminded that every day, which is what I love about waking up and having the Bible as a priority, is I am being reminded that I want to show up better for others. And we all sin. We all sin. There's no one in this world that doesn't sin. Mm-hmm. But it's making sure for me that I'm convicted, and when I'm convicted, I operate better.
You do something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between me now and then is I was never really convicted for my actions. I was like, I'm just going to burn this whole place down and you're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's really how I thought. Like, if you cross me, you're going to feel it. And that's a very scary mindset to be in. Whereas now, if I do something, whether it's feeling like I gossiped about someone, or I said something really hurtful, or I showed up incorrectly, or I said no to something, I'm convicted.
Yeah.
And I want to immediately apologize for my actions. I have a lot of humility for myself, more than I've ever had. And I think it's the most beautiful thing when I see it on others is someone who has humility. And they're not prideful. Because the people that you see all the time that are very prideful, it's like you almost want to take a step back.
You almost do take a step back.
Yeah, you're just like, oh here? Man, this person is just not going to budge. And it's very unfortunate because it just will take over your whole being. And I just
spikes anxiety for sure.
100%. And I just really enjoy when I do have humility. I'm like, oh wow, that felt really good. It actually feels wonderful to just lay down your sword a little bit.
Yeah.
And I really, even want to say right now, I apologize for all the people in my past that had to see a lot of my swords. I basically had a Game of Thrones throne with all these knives, and I will admit I was not playing kind in a lot of ways. I definitely feel like the abandonment of my father and his pride and my pride really brought something different out of me for a long time. And I'm not proud of those moments, but I am proud of where I've landed.
Yeah. And where you're continuing to go to,
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so important to understand for each other, but then to just challenge ourselves of the reality of sanctification, like on earth. It never ends on earth because of who we are, because of what we've done. Yeah. But just because of the reality of what sin is and what it like did to our world through Adam and Eve. But I think that's like the most humbling part, because false humility comes from essentially like this self-righteousness of, oh yeah, like I've gotten there. Like I worked through my stuff. I worked through all of my trauma. I pretty much like, got rid of sin in my life, like all that. It's like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works, unfortunately.
No. Yeah.
This whole thing is built on grace. So that, it's like, it does feel good to be humble.
Oh, yeah.
But not in the way that you might think.
Yeah, and you do have grace for other people.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I see someone acting up and doing things, I'm like, wow, like I gotta really take the log out of my own eye.
Yeah.
I am that person. That was a version of me. I know where they're at, and you almost have to like let them do their thing. You don't. I'm learning more and more. You don't have to be everyone's savior, because God will do what He needs to do in His own time for that person. Yeah. But you do have to learn to give people grace and give people. Sit back and know that you did that too. And that you're not subject to not do that still coming in the coming days.
1000%.
You know?
Yeah, in the Lord's Prayer, you know, we say, like, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Like, it's a 1-2 punch.
Yeah, I can sit here and say, I've learned a lot of conviction, but I'm still sinning. I mean, I wake up and still, there's so many opportunities to do the wrong thing. Yeah. I mean, I might as well just stay in bed. But and I'm not trying.
But there's so many opportunities to do the right thing, too.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and be righteous and say, I'm perfect, and every time I tie my shoes, they're laced perfect. But I am saying,
if you did, I call you out on it.
Yeah, I am saying that I recognize it.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah.
Before I didn't recognize it.
Yep.
Now I recognize it. That's the difference with having the Lord in my life. I now can see things very clear on how I respond to things, and I have an opportunity to correct them.
Right.
That's the difference. Before I didn't have any opportunity because I was like, I have too much pride. You can just do you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do me. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. Yeah.
It's a big difference. Well, it's cool to hear just your whole journey and thought process, like, through that. Mm-hmm. And I know we like started this off in such a somber and vulnerable way.
Yeah, you almost tried to make me cry, like, in the first 2 seconds.
I know. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good.
But I think it's just a reality, based on the conversations that we've had leading up to this show, and just knowing what we did want to talk about. Mm-hmm. It made sense, and I'm glad we did, and I'm glad we got into that. Because it's important to talk about. And it's heavy stuff, but it's real stuff. And, we talk about all the creative stuff on here. It's like so exciting to even have you on because you're such a creative genius. But at the core of it all is what we just talked about. Yeah. And I think you're a living testament of that. Like, you had the creative genius, but you didn't have that, like, second part of the life fulfillment, the creative purpose, the reasoning behind you're doing anything that you're doing. And that's what I'm trying to kind of highlight with these podcasts and highlight with my journey is the pursuit of the deeper meaning behind what we're doing. Because otherwise, as you said and as you did, like, you just get super lost. Yeah. So it's very encouraging to me. And, even just in my journey of figuring this out, there are constantly moments when the temptation to kind of forget all of it exists. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason I started the podcast was like, I need these conversations. Mm-hmm. And I know other people need these conversations. Yeah. They need to hear from people like you, and they need to hear firsthand experience of what it means to be without, like, the purpose, and be without what I believe all of our purpose should be, is to live like Jesus, to show people the love of Jesus, because that causes us to even create from a deeper place, which makes more beautiful art, more beautiful music, but also just operate out of love with each other, which is like the ultimate goal.
Yeah, it's almost so interesting. When I was younger, you just see WWJD everywhere, and you're like, what? Like, it was almost like laughable to me. I'm like, what does that even mean? Yeah. And now I'm like, oh my gosh. It's the only thing I'm saying.
Just playing over and over in your mind.
Like that is grace in itself. Is what would Jesus do right now? Would he yell at this person? Would he like put his 2 cents in? No, he just would listen to your heart and accept you for who you are, which is beautifully made. And that's the thing that I learned when I surrendered was, I'm enough. I'm enough, right? He made me perfect. I'm enough. And I'm here in LA trying to be more because I don't think I'm enough, right? And so being stripped away from all these things that I idolized, that I thought that I needed, materialistic things, people around me that I was like, oh, okay, this person's important, so I'm important, right? I was enough. My identity didn't need to be attached to anything. My job, people, you know, what I associated, what brands I had on, none of that was needed. And that is where I'm at right now. I don't need any of that. I really, really love what God did for me and how he built me and created me. And to get to that point is so freeing.
Yeah.
That you don't have to cling to something to feel accepted or to feel important.
Now that you're clinging to Jesus, how do you approach all of the other things that you were like originally clinging to? Things that were not necessarily in that like purely bad bucket.
Well, I did a cleanse and I say cleanse because I got rid of everything. I got out of LA. I just felt like I wanted light, right? The place I live in, when you open the door, it's almost like just these flooded lights. I was like, it's the difference of where I was living before. Before, I might as well have lived in a cave. It was so dark. It was so dark. There was no way anyone could do social content in that place, right? And now you're just like, you almost feel like you're in heaven. You know?
You just wake up in the morning, you're just like, hand is in front.
Yeah, every time someone comes into my place, they're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that this was so bright here. And I was like, yeah, can you feel it? It's just so beautiful. That was just night and day.
Yeah.
And then I got rid of probably around $45,000 worth of branded Chanel bags, like everything. I didn't even look back.
Yeah.
That felt so good.
Oh, I bet.
It was wonderful. And it's not to say like I won't purchase something in the future that I'm like, oh, you know, like I want that. But it was the feeling of like, it doesn't have a hold on me.
Right.
I was holding things for years just being like, this is my baby.
Right.
It's not my baby. You know?
You worked so hard for this.
Yeah. I had to physically let it go and take off that chain. It was a chain to me. So now I look at that stuff so different. You know, it's not really needed in my life anymore. People. Wow. I will say one thing about people. They are the energy and the frequency and the anxiety to your life. The people that you surround yourself with, man, can either break you or make you into this like happiest person, right? I love so many people and so many people that I don't see anymore in LA. Like I just love them from afar and I will always be there for them.
Right.
But man, the moment I started picking certain people that I want to be around, wow, they just show up for me every day. Like, how can I support you? How can I pray for you? Do you need help moving? I've never had so many people reach out and see how I'm doing until now.
That's beautiful.
And you don't have that awakening until you are in a car accident in your bed at the hospital when no one's there. You don't really understand the meaning of life, of people, until you're in a situation where you have no one to help you. And I really felt that when I had Lyme disease. Everyone just scattered like ants, right? They just all ran away when I got sick. And that's when I needed people the most.
Yeah.
Is when I didn't know how to heal myself. But now, if I got really sick or something happened to me, I know for a fact my phone would be flooded.
Yeah.
With people that would come to me and be like, what do you need?
Yeah.
And that just just shows how much I've worked on myself and how much I've shown up for others and how much God has literally just taken over.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, so true. I like what you said about God taking over too, because like that's the crux of it all. It's like him taking over allowed you to show up for others, and then now it's like coming back around as well.
And I also want to preface that the person I was, I take full responsibility. It takes two people to tango, right? Like, I'm not just like, that was the problem, you are the problem.
Yeah,
no,
you're not just putting your old self in a bag and then you're like, okay, like, that's not me anymore, you know?
No, not at all. I want to 100% let everyone know that I fully am responsible for that person. No one else is responsible for who showed up for me, who didn't, how I became, what happened in my life. Like, I take responsibility.
Wow. Yeah.
You know,
wow.
No one is to blame for how I show up in my life.
That's huge. It's really good. Can you talk a little bit about your Lyme's disease, like your experience with it? Because you said it a few times now, and I've heard a few things, but what was that like for you? Is that like a popular thing? Do a lot of people get Lyme's disease? How do you get Lyme's disease?
Like popular, like Molly?
No. Maybe. No, just like, do a lot of people get it?
I think a lot of people are misdiagnosed. I think a lot of people have it. They just don't know they have it.
Okay. And what is it exactly?
And there's a few different ways you can contract it. I got it from a tick.
Okay.
And there's a lot of misconceptions, like, oh, where were you? You can get them here. There's not really a landscape where you're like, this only is the area of Lyme disease. Lyme disease is just hiking in LA, hiking down the street. You know, ticks are everywhere. They're not just in one area. So, and
the little bugs she's talking about, by the way.
Yeah, they're really cute.
Not just nervous ticks.
They're really tiny and cute.
Until they bite you and sink their entire body into your skin.
And basically just die there.
Yeah.
That, and then you can also get them from mosquitoes.
Okay.
Which to me is even more terrifying.
Yeah.
And also vaccines.
Interesting. Okay.
I had a girlfriend who had Lyme disease from a vaccine.
Wow.
So there are other ways to contract it.
And then what exactly is it? Like, when you do get it, what is it? Symptoms? What do you basically experience?
I mean, there's a plethora of symptoms, and it really depends on the person. But mine, I think what I like to describe it as is it's really your brain just being taken over. And it feels like Jeffrey Dahmer lives there. So every single day you feel very suicidal.
Wow.
You want to like jump out of a window, or this is my experience. And everyone can be different, just the extremities of it.
Yeah.
The thing that was the worst for me is my nervous system would never be calm. So when I would sleep, it felt like my heart was just about to jump out of my skin.
Wow.
And my muscles felt like I was 200 years old. So if I did one push-up, it felt like I already did 400.
What?
Like, it just was the weirdest feeling.
That's so weird.
So, and I'm very disciplined in working out. So I would go to the gym every day, even though I would cry the whole time. I remember my yoga teacher just looking at me and being like, are you okay? Like, with his eyes.
Yeah.
Because I would just sit in the corner and cry. But I still showed up for myself, right?
Yeah.
That was the hardest part, is most people that have Lyme disease sit at home because you feel like you have this overwhelming jet lag. That's what it feels like.
Okay. I can relate to that
Like,
feeling.
think of jet lag, right?
Yeah.
Now times that by 100. That's your day.
Jeez.
That's every day.
Jeez.
You don't want to get out of bed.
Feeling. No, I don't like that feeling at all.
And a lot of people think that they have jet lag, or they have depression because you're just always depressed. It was really important for me to find a doctor that was always uplifting me, because your brain, when it's in a state of you're going to have this forever, you're gonna, like, don't do that, stay home, like, be sad. Yeah. You kind of get in this routine of just feeling sorry for yourself and not wanting to exist, which is why most people who have Lyme kill themselves. Wow. Because you can't.
It's just a never-ending.
It's like, a never-ending cycle, almost, yeah. And you don't die from Lyme. So that's the hardest part about it.
So it's not necessarily a fatal disease. It's just there, and it just consumes you.
It's a consumption autoimmune disease, and wow. I do not believe, and I'm going to say this to a lot of people that have Lyme disease, I do not believe it's a forever disease. I think there's a lot of other things that are layered into your body that was just the sprinkle on the top that just took you out, right? And that was for me. I was never going to mark myself as a survivor of Lyme. A lot of people do that. A lot of people are just like, this is my identity now, right?
Right.
My identity is in Christ. It's not in Lyme. Lyme is a season. Lyme was a season. Mm-hmm. And when people ask me, oh, I thought you can't get rid of Lyme. Who said that? Who told you that? Your doctor? Someone who doesn't really know you? Or... I mean, I know Jesus can do miracles, and I know he can do the impossible. So I'm not going to let anyone tell me and decide my future from my own body, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of misconception of the disease, and I had to see people around me go through it and get saved by God to not have it anymore.
Wow. So is that... Like, are you saying that's like the only escape from it, or that's just the one that you and so many others have found? And I guess in that question, I'm asking, how did you get cured from it? Like, how did you? And that is
the huge question.
The big question.
Yeah, I personally think, and this is my own opinion, is that a lot of autoimmune diseases are based on our spiritual realm, where our trauma is coming from.
Okay.
A lot of my illness, even in my gut, like UTIs, all these things that I had, your gut is your second brain. People don't know that.
Explain that a little bit.
So whatever's going on here, if you have a lot of gut issues, if you really have a lot of trauma that you have not actually confronted. Because all our emotions are held here in our second brain. That's why it's called the second brain. Mm-hmm. Because we stop thinking about it up here. We then push it down here, right? Like, you know, when people are like, just keep pushing it down, keep pushing it down. Where does it go?
Yeah.
Your body keeps score, right?
Right.
So
straight to your kidney.
Exactly. So when your body starts like not working well and everything, like, you can even imagine at work when you're stressed, what's the first thing that starts not working well? Your health, right? Because you're constantly being traumatized by whatever's at work. Think about that for how many years you've been traumatized. And then it's just all in a jar.
Yeah, it's just down there.
Yeah. So if you've never really confronted it and let it and released it, you're just adding to the layer of it.
Yeah.
With trauma and then spiritual trauma. Spiritual warfare, and then you sprinkle on some little tick that just bites you to add the cherry on top. Yeah, you are going to go down.
Wow.
And that's what happened to me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think, you know, when you're sick, and I got this way, I kind of enjoyed it. And it's really weird. You start enjoying it because you have a reason to not exist in the world anymore and to give up. Mm-hmm. And I had to tell myself every morning, do not do that. Do not give up. God is not going to give up on you.
That's comfort.
Oh, yeah.
Like giving up is comfort.
A lot of us live in comfort, right? Where we take the comfortable route. And I really wanted to know the root of why I had Lyme. I can do all these take supplements all day. I can do all these things, but is that really the root of the problem of why I have what I have? No. I had to show up for myself in a different way, and that was spiritually, and Jesus saved me in that.
Wow.
He was like, there's a lot of things you have to clean up that you don't see that are within the walls of your life. And a lot of people don't want to look at those walls.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I'm going in a different place with my thought right now. You like keep talking about like the spiritual realm, the spiritual aspect of it. Can you dive into, and I don't know if you've thought about this much, but like I just think about the spiritual realm, and as a believer, like I know that is a relationship with Jesus, who is the King of Kings of the spiritual realm, and that gives me the ability to tap into his healing capabilities. Mm-hmm. But like the opposite side of that, like what's the difference between healing spiritually this way through Jesus and healing spiritually through like all these other practices that people do, whether it's like ayahuasca and like tapping into your inner self there, like or different practices, yoga, like different things that, you know, people use the spiritual realm to tap into certain parts of their body. I'm even like visually just seeing, you know, the type of healing where they're like hands are going over the body, and then like you're talking about gut health and like taking trauma out of the gut, because this is it's like the belief that your gut is your second brain and there's all this trauma down there isn't only like a Christian belief necessarily.
No, not
right?
at all. Not at
but,
all.
Like, what's the difference between healing spiritually with Jesus versus healing spiritually with like we'll call it just the new age practices?
Yeah, no, the second brain is definitely, any biohacker would tell you that same thing. Mm-hmm. Who's not Christian.
Yeah, I get ads all the time on Instagram for it.
Yeah, I've worked in the health and wellness space long enough to understand that these things exist regardless if you have a belief in Jesus or not, right? This is real. Mm-hmm. This is a real thing that people have issues with. When it comes to different practices, you know, me being saved and surrendering to Jesus was thankfully something that stopped the searching. I think we're all searching for something, right? Even if we can't understand it, we're searching for something. And, you know, now that I know what I was searching for, it's like, oh, I can like relax, you know? And then when you see people still searching, like through ayahuasca or through some other type of medicine or whatever, and just keep trying to find that, that's the difference to me. I've seen quite a few people go through ayahuasca that are really close friends, and they've only been traumatized, right? I know. Really? Oh, yeah.
It's like more, basically like getting dumped on more rather than
seeing demons, seeing dark spirits.
Wow.
I look at ayahuasca for myself. You know, everyone has their own opinion about these kind of procedures, but for me, I automatically look at that and go, there's no way I would ever let someone open a door to my soul to let spirits in. Yeah. It's real. Wow. The spiritual world is real. If you can hear from someone who's not Christian and they've seen dark spirits, you don't think there's good in the world? You don't think there's Jesus? You don't think there's light? You don't think there's the Holy Spirit? If you can actually see that there is darkness in you and there's something chasing you that wants to try to kill you, you don't think there's a pendulum swing in that? I think people want to avoid that feeling because then they have to give up everything in their life that they feel they have control over.
Yeah.
And that they're idolizing. I really think that's the reason, because I was going through it too. I was so afraid to give up me, to give up everything I built. Me. What about me? Mm-hmm. That's what we're afraid to give up. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else. Mm-hmm. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't want to be sick anymore. And for me, I didn't want to go down more routes of trying to find what I already found in God.
Yeah, so you're talking about like the Lyme's disease basically being that like final nail in the coffin for you.
Oh yeah.
So that's basically what you're saying when you're talking about there being layers to Lyme's disease. It's not just the disease itself, but it's things that you've gone through and things that you value that you shouldn't value, and just layer on layer on layer.
Yes, God calls everyone differently, but I picked up the phone when I was at my worst, which was, I now don't have my health. I don't have my brain. My brain is why I'm creative. Mm-hmm. When you have Lyme disease, your brain's actually working backwards. And I remember the moment I knew something was wrong was when my boyfriend asked me to make a pizza, and I told him it's almost done, and I pulled it out of the oven and there was nothing there. It was just a tray. And he looked at me like, what are you talking about? And that's when I knew I didn't have my brain anymore. Yeah. It completely took it over.
You're living in an alternate reality.
Oh, yeah. My brain was already telling me I did all that. And that was the scariest thing, because I'm working with these big brands and having, these big budgets, and I'm supposed to be the creative director and building all these ideas and concepts out, and I can't even make a pizza.
Yeah. For real.
Can't
put pepperoni and cheese on a pie, but
yeah.
How are you going to be able to take care of $100,000 budget?
I was terrified. I was like, this is all that I've got. Mm. And you kind of stop searching. You kind of like, okay, I give up. I'm not running anymore. What do I do? Yeah. And that's when God was like, let me lead you to a better way. Mm. If I had to do that all over again, I would, just for the testimony of helping others. This is my purpose, to help others. Mm-hmm. And it took me a really long time to realize that's my only purpose, is to serve God and to serve others.
Yeah, I can't imagine how hard it would be to get to a point where you don't even recognize yourself and you can't even function correctly or function at a basic level. That's so tough. So you mentioned earlier how, like, being born again, being saved by God now, you look back at your old life and you notice things that are, blatant to you now, but you were lost in at the moment.
Yeah.
When it comes to the disease, do you see it similarly? Do you, look back now and you're just like, wow, oh my gosh, I was just completely gone? Like the pizza story is kind of like that, but is there anything else that you remember?
I will say, and I feel like a lot of people who have autoimmune diseases will relate to this. You almost don't want to look back because you're afraid it's going to come back.
Oh, okay.
You bring it back into existence at some way. I think that's the ultimate terror nightmare, is to wake up and be like, oh, I have it again.
Yeah.
Did something else bite me? Or, even with cancer, right? Like, you're just so fearful to even talk about it.
I get it.
That you don't really look back, and it's only been till recently that I've been talking about it again, and knowing that God's so good, He wants me to talk about it, because so many people in my life come to me asking me, how did you cure yourself? Mm. And all I can say is Jesus. It's such a wonderful thing to say. It's like, there's no medicine. It's just Jesus.
What's the reaction when you say that usually?
I think people who are of the same belief understand that. They can understand, that makes sense. But people who don't, I mean, I've been on both sides of the coin, right? I understand what it feels like to look at someone and go, how do you move that way? How are you so happy? What's that feeling like, right? I used to not have it, and I always wanted it. And now having it, it's hard to understand, because it's not like you pass like a test and then you suddenly get it.
Yeah.
There's just so many layers that you have to unravel that God puts you through to finally come to that feeling. And when you do it, you just never you never lose it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can't explain it. You just have to answer the phone when he calls and just do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just got to put pen to paper. Got to take action.
Yeah, and sometimes people just look at the phone and like know it's calling. It's just like, I'm good. I'll wait this out, you know.
Yeah.
I still want to, you know, meet Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
You know, like just like it's like stupid things, right?
Yeah.
Stupid things you convince yourself of that are more important.
Yeah.
Than taking the step of salvation.
Wait, so what is salvation then?
So salvation, I mean, experiencing my salvation was through how much my life was surrounded by so much sin that, you know, Jesus died on the cross for our sins, right? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to release myself from that, from perfection. Mm. And, you know, everything has changed in my life ever since I've done that for myself. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to explain. It's still really hard to explain when people ask what that is. But I do know that the person that I used to be lived in sin in a way that it glorified me. And now the way I live is understanding that I don't need to live that way anymore. I am saved by one beautiful person, and I don't have to walk every day knowing that these things are burdening me every single day anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's so powerful. I think it's so important to know that, because like that being the truth, that being salvation, because we as humans like can think we've found salvation in so many different things. You know, so many practices, so many medicines, so many, like whatever we're trying to find salvation from, there's always a remedy, and there's so many different remedies. There's so many routes that you can take to get to that solution.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, I'm fat, I want to lose weight. Okay, like I can take opioids to help me lose weight. I can take Ozempic. That's might be an easy route. Or I can go in the gym every day. I can change my lifestyle. Okay, that's another route. Like there's so many different routes. But I think if I'm picking up on it, what you're explaining is not necessarily just a salvation from Lyme's disease, or salvation from like, you know, certain things in your life that you didn't like, you know, purging your closet. Like this is a spiritual and eternal salvation, not one that's like here on earth, you know, finite, something that's just here and then gone. It's like, this is a Super Bowl we're talking about, like bigger than the Super Bowl. This is it. This is like you as a human, your soul, no matter what physically you look like or sound like, this is you. This is who God cares about. And this is why he did what he did on the cross, to give you that freedom as a genuine person, as a soul, not necessarily as a, you know, as whatever you care about in the moment, or whatever hobby you're trying to do or pick up. Like this is you. It's
bigger than what you can envision.
Yeah.
In this real world, right? Or in this world. I was always climbing some type of mountain and thinking, okay, after this, then it's going to feel different, right? After this accolade, I'll feel different. All my problems will suddenly go away.
Yeah.
And it just never happened. Everything kept starting to feel the same. And you look at these people in the industry, why are they so unhappy? You know, why are they turning to drugs? Why are they turning to drinking? Why are they turning to all these things? Like, what's the common denominator? Nothing that I was chasing was fulfilling. Nothing I was chasing was leading me to salvation. And that's the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But Jesus filled that void for you, it sounds like.
Yeah, he made that cup overflow. And I am so thankful I got to actually experience that, you know, understand the difference. Because some people may never, if they don't want to, and it all comes down to, you know, pride. I think pride is the biggest thing, is people don't want to put down their sword. Because then what are they having to give up for that? What are they having to give up for their salvation? Their pride.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing all that. I know that's not necessarily easy to like walk through again, like not an easy reality to live in your head. And even just you mentioning like you didn't even want to think about Lyme's disease for like 5 years, 6 years, but now you're at a place where you can. I'm just thankful that you're like willing to talk about it, you know, not from a like, oh, look at me, like I got all the answers now, but just from like, guys, like you gotta look at this a little bit deeper, you know. I like that perspective. And I'm just like super hopeful that it helps a lot of people, and it helps people like rip the scales from their eyes and just allows them to see life in a different way, you know, allows them to see what they're going through in a different way. Like, even if you're not facing Lyme's disease, or you're not living in Los Angeles growing a, you know, massive creative agency, we all go through things in life that are tailored to us, and we all have our personal like battles, and it's just so important to like step back and understand the deeper reasoning behind why we're going through it, and also just understand that nothing, like you were saying, it's like nothing that you could do was enough. Yeah. Like every battle that you were trying to fight, and you're a fighter. You're like out here like balls to the wall, you know, sorry for the language, just balls to the wall, just out here doing it and fighting it. Like you're type A, you're like, I have this problem, I'm going to fix it. Yeah. And you just kept coming up short, like not being able to explain it. So it's just so important. I don't know, like to anybody listening, just take that extra time to evaluate, reflect. If I can encourage you in anything, like put people around you that point you to the truth, point you to like critical thinking about it, and not just a one-track mind of like, oh, like, yeah, this, you should do this because my, you know, my uncle's cousin did it and it worked for him. Like actually dig deep and figure it out, you know, for yourself, and read the Bible.
Yeah. If anyone knows me,
just read it.
If anyone knows me really well, I, you know, tried to look under every rock and stone to find an answer for anything I do in my life. So I tried everything in the sense of I'm going to figure things out. I'm going to figure it out on my own, right? And nothing seemed to heal my heart the way that I took a risk on Christianity, right? And Jesus, and just surrendering. So, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, my burning question is just, how does this translate now? Like, how is it different now than when you were knee deep in LA culture and all that stuff? Like your agency, the creative aspect of what you do, how is that different now with this surrender that you have to the Lord and this life that you're living, like just wanting to serve people, love God, serve people? What's the difference now in your creative ability, your creative genius?
I think the things that I cared about so much are on the wayside. I prioritize my time with God in the morning. I prioritize my Sabbath. I prioritize people that are in my community. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, I would just dig myself in a hole. I think my life really consisted of 90% work and 10% sleep. Mm-hmm. If anything, wasn't
You're a
even
massive sleep debt.
It wasn't even the Lord. It was just sleep. And it looks so different now because people are the forefront. Jesus is the forefront. That's 90% now. Wow. 10% is what I give to things that do not serve me the way they used to.
Yeah.
And when I have come to that conclusion, it is so nice. I can breathe better just knowing I'm not going to get that gray hair immediately. And I hope this is how my friends feel, but I just show up better in the world. Mm-hmm. With when that's the priority, right? Yeah. When I know I have to open up my Bible and be like, probably going to be convicted right at the first sentence, right? Like he's going to show me what I'm convicted of today. Yeah. But also just a beautiful blessing of what the Lord's going to provide that day, right?
Yeah.
And it is having gratitude in the morning and having that clarity of where Jesus is like giving you this big hug and going, mm-hmm. You're loved.
Yeah.
You're loved well. I mean, everything creatively just comes from that place now, where it's my clients could have been just anyone, right? Like I'll just take whatever is coming at me. Now I'm like, are we going to love each other well? Like, are we going to love each other well? Because if we're not, I think I'm going to pass.
Yeah.
It's not really about the money anymore. Yeah. It's really not about the project anymore and like what I have to show for it. It's really about, do we like each other?
Yeah, is this a good relationship?
Yeah. Am I going to show up with grace? Am I going to love you well? Mm-hmm. Are we going to talk about Jesus? Are you going to show me your Bible? That's really where it's at now for me. And
so you only work with Christian people now?
I try to.
Really?
I think there's something beautiful about that. Okay. Because you find your people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as people say like, oh, you find your people. You want to be around certain people. There's a reason why you go to a run club and everyone's running. You find your people. And you're not finding people that are just sitting on the couch. You're finding people who want to like show up.
Yeah.
And so it's easier to operate when I find my people because I can be myself in how God wants me to be.
Yeah.
I'm more of a listener. I have more grace. When people mirror you, it's a really beautiful thing. Mm. And sometimes, when you have someone that doesn't have the same core values and the same foundation, you end up slipping more and more into sin because of the fact that, okay, they're suddenly cussing. It's like, oh, shoot, should I cuss now? Like, It's just a slippery slope. And it's not to say that I won't work with non-Christians. Like I'm around a lot of people that, and even in my friend group that are not Christian, but they know how I operate and they have respect for me on how I look at things.
Right.
And I give them the same respect back. But I do enjoy being around like-minded people because I show up the way I want to show up for the Lord. Mm-hmm. That's my priority.
Right.
So if I'm not showing up more and more how Jesus wants me to do, then I have to reevaluate who I'm surrounding myself with. Right. And that can easily be one person that will destroy my whole world.
Right.
Man, I think we put too much value sometimes in man, even too with people who have church hurt. Mm-hmm. We don't really look at the root of the cause of why we stepped away from God. We kind of stepped away from man and then blamed that God was part of that. Right. Where like to say that man is always going to disappoint me. And the Bible is where I look to every day.
Yeah.
And as long as I have that as my North Star of like constantly being in the Word and not, I love the people that I listen to, my sermons and everything, and all the different pastors and the churches. I'm very much involved in my community, but they all can turn on me, right? Because they're not Jesus. So if you can understand that, then you kind of understand, okay, why did I turn away from God?
Yeah.
Or did I turn away from my pastor? Or did I turn away from my life group? Or did I turn away from, Yeah. And once you understand that distinction, it's very different.
Yeah.
Jesus is never going to give up on me.
Yeah, never.
So,
yeah, that's such an important distinction to make.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
We definitely put so much faith in man, in ourselves too. I mean, like,
sure.
as we've yapped about for the past 2 hours, it's like that's kind of what it boils down to, is like trust in man versus trust in God.
Yeah.
And where are you actually putting your eggs? What basket are you putting them in? Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes total sense. Well, I feel like there's so many burning questions I have, like, creatively as well. Like I'm like nerding out. Like I'm like, dang, like as an agency owner myself, I'm like, oh, I have so many questions I want to ask you about, like, how to run an agency, how to connect with clients, like how to like, put together larger budgets and how to shoot stuff and stuff. And we're like so far into the pod right now, I don't know, like 2 hours maybe. But one burning question I do have that I think is like super valuable for people is like, how do you network well? And I think now your answer might even be better now because of like what you've gone through. But how do you network well, and what are some like key things that you should do as a creative wanting to work with clients and other creative people too, but mostly clients?
I don't have an agenda.
Okay.
I think that's the number one thing, is people who network have an agenda. Like, I have to know this person. I have to get in with their circle. I just love getting to know people. I like to see their soul. I like to see their heart. And if I can't tap into that, I don't really try even harder, and some people try harder, right? And also they don't even try in that aspect of it. They're just like, who do you know? How do you know this person? What are you involved in? I need to associate with you.
Yeah.
And that's not how I network. And I don't even like saying that word, because I serve with intention to others. I go in, and even with my clients that I talk to, for the past 12 years that I've been doing this, I think our first hour is just about how they are. And that's not really how most people do their business.
Yeah.
They get straight to the point.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want?
We
What's your budget?
Yeah.
Everything. And I'm like, do you have cats? Do you have dogs? Do you like, what makes you laugh? And I want us to laugh and then they're like, wait a minute, I really want to work with you. I want to see you every day. I want to pay you the money, not this random person who just can say all these great things and tell me that they can do all these things, and then they don't really care about me.
Yeah.
I think I learned during COVID real quick that people just want others to care about them. And even when I used to be a personal trainer when I was really young, we weren't really working out. People just wanted someone to talk to.
Yeah.
They wanted a therapy session. They wanted someone to listen.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any difference in business. People just want that. People want to be heard.
Right.
And they will pay an extraordinary amount of money to be heard.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that even in, like, if someone's like a cog in a big wheel, like if they're the one making the decision, they're going to still make that decision. Like, they're going to make the decision based off, like, okay, I got to make sure, like, my quotas are hit and, like, we do the things we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, they're like, but I'm also a person and I want to, like, work with someone that's cool and I can, like, actually be friends with.
Yeah. And you know, certain people, obviously, they operate the same way. So they usually find each other, you know, someone who's just like, I just want to talk about business. And the other, you know, the agency's like, I just want to talk about, you know, they find each other and they just run into.
They play in that sandbox.
Oh, yeah. And my sandbox, I find people that are just like, wait a minute, are we going to like hang out after this? And like most of the clients that I've worked with in the past are all still my friends to this day. Yeah, like we have like an actual relationship outside of work because we really care about each other and like we just want to kick it and talk our creative juices and stuff. And that's the thing. It's just like you want to give your money to someone like who appreciates you.
Right.
You know, that's your hard-earned money. You want to at least give it to someone who cares about you as a person. And that's always been the way that I've tried to operate within my company that I've had for so long, which is something that I really am stepping away from because of the fact that I want to be a mom. I want to be a woman. Yeah. I want to be like truly what God wants me to be as a helper.
Yeah.
And a helper to a man, right? And so, you know, I've done all these things. I've worked with everyone. And as much as I love to be creative, my biggest fulfillment I know will be a mom. And
that's awesome.
It's funny to think when I look back and I used to be like, oh, that's not even a job. That's, you know, when you're younger and you look at people and you're just like, they're a stay-at-home mom. You're like, oh, that's not really a job. It's like, it's the hardest job. When I see my friends have kids, that is harder than what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
My mom had 10 of them.
Yeah, I have a team.
That was her full-time job for 20. It still is. Yeah. Still is her full-time job, actually. She's not done.
No, I respect women so much, what we can do with our bodies and produce life. Like, how beautiful is that?
So beautiful. That
we can produce life. And I just want to say out there, we need to really, really stop hating on men. I'm not okay with it. I really am not. Because for how many men I lost in my life, and I have gotten back my father and I've gotten back my stepdad. My stepdad is such a protector to my mom. Like, I'm so thankful she's not alone right now. You know? This has been a prayer that she's had for 16 years for us to get along.
Wow.
And I see how much he provides, how much he protects her. I mean, he's constantly taking care of the house for her. And he just shows up. I can't do that for my mom as a woman. I can't do that for her.
Yeah.
He's leading. And I see all of us women just hating on men, saying, why are they acting this way? Why are we acting this way? We are doing the same thing. I have never seen me more in the kitchen than now, you know? Like, before I wasn't even in the kitchen, you know? And I know that's what men want. They want us to, you know, feed the soul, be a helper, be at home, you know, take care of children that you know, you come to as a family. Like, we need to show up just as much as a man. We're asking men to show up. And for anyone who's saying that we don't need men, I'm sorry, but there's so many things I do not want to do. There's so many wonderful things I do not want to do, and I know a man is great at them. And so I spent half my life being fatherless, and man, boy, do I wish that I had my father that whole time. And he's a man. And my dad led me. He protected me. And he took care of me the best ability he could when I was very young. And things happen. But we need to stop pointing the finger at someone else and take ownership of why things are the way they are. And I really do believe that women are a big part of it. We are so valuable to change the narrative of a lot of these things for men.
100%. Yeah, you guys carry such a weight. Women carry such a weight on their shoulders.
Yeah.
Like the nurturing, caring love of a mother is like stronger than anything in this world. And you can look back through history to find plenty of proof in that. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. But even from my side, like as a man, like men need to do such a better job of actually caring and protecting women on a daily basis. Because of that, like it's like that. It's you don't get one without the other. Like you can't just be like, yeah, women need to, stop hating on men. It's like, okay, yes, from my standpoint now, men need to take care of women. Men need to nurture them and care for them as a strong leader. Like protect them, like you were saying. It's like your stepdad protects your mom, and the way that he does that is by like taking care of the things that she worries about on a daily basis so that she can step into her role as a mother, as a wife, and it's so important that men do that. And like one of the main things that drives me is the men that I have around me in my life that are constantly pushing me towards that, constantly pushing me to take ownership and stewardship of the things in my life, even little things, whether it's getting up early in the morning and making sure like I'm in the Word, I'm praying before I'm doing other things, because I know that all of these things that we're talking about flow from a relationship with Jesus. Yeah. But also actually taking action quickly and like no delayed obedience. Like you're on it every day. You like live with this drive within yourself where you're just constantly going. You're constantly going to do the things that you're called to do so that you can like take responsibility and take more responsibility and then take more responsibility. And that responsibility is taking care of women as well, So
I'm noticing in my friend group that we're all having the same understanding of what's happening is we're not being led by God through man, right? Yep. We're not feeling protected. And so many levels I don't feel protected by men lately, except for my best guy friends who are brothers in Christ, right? And the power of that is so monumental for women. I mean, when we can just relax and be like, oh, okay, you've got this, like you can go hunt, you can go carry, you can, you know what I mean? Yeah. We can actually be in our feminine. But the moment we have to start feeling like we have to hunt, we have to protect ourselves, we have to lead and like know what the next plan is and stuff, you guys have literally given us your job.
Right.
And vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to sit back and curtsy, what's going to happen? We're going to have to put on the pants, right?
Yep.
And I am obviously an alpha woman, but only because I have to be. I have noticed that the moment someone stands in front of me that is a leader, a protector, and is just following Jesus, oh man, I am literally a soft flower.
Like it's immediate.
It's
like
immediate.
It's just like boom.
It's immediate. Like you can feel the
testosterone
in front of you, and you can feel the like you don't have to worry about anything. The moment someone makes me feel that way, I am like a damsel in distress. I'm just like, okay, I don't have to do anything. I guess I don't have to,
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing. And I bet you that's how every woman feels.
100%. I agree.
Like, we're only showing our hardness because we're only seeing softness. And the moment we see hardness, it is just so wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think our world is filled with soft men, and it has been since like sin entered the world. It just like sin creates soft men. Like it like breaks us down from being the man that like God called us to be.
Yeah.
The strong protector, the good steward. Like that's what he's called us to be. And sin just like weasels its way in there and just breaks every wall down. It's like, you're not going to be doing that because you're going to focus on like all these other little things, like all these other pleasures that like are going to make you feel comfortable. It just breaks us down, and then 100% you can't lead doing that. Are you kidding me? It's not even the 10th thought on your mind.
Yeah.
You're just thinking how you can like pleasure yourself, essentially.
Exactly. And there's a reason why God made Adam, right? And then he made Eve. Eve wasn't made first.
Yeah.
I was a rib, which is a helper, and I'm supposed to respect and honor my man on how he's led by God. I am not supposed to lead him. And even in the dating scene, I can completely understand a relationship where, maybe someone like a woman is not in Christ fully yet. But it's very hard for me to understand a relationship where I have to lead a man to Christ because that is not my job.
Yeah.
I am supposed to lean in more to a man to lead me more into Christ and have us equally yoked. But the moment that I'm once again operating in a role of masculinity is where I feel more and more that I'm turning into that role. And that's how our foundation ends up, right? If I'm also leading a man spiritually, I'm just taking everything from him, right? I'm taking his job. I'm taking his hunting, leading, spiritual direction. Yeah. That's a lot for me to bear. And I understand that the Lord will, provide however he sees my husband to be. But from my understanding biblically that's how I look at it, is that I'm the helper.
Yeah.
I'm not the leader.
Right. Yeah, you put it beautifully earlier, but I'll call back to it. Like, the flow of leadership, God, man, woman. And I hope that like everything we're talking about kind of gives context to that, because obviously our world looks at that super negatively. Yeah. And, in religious institutions, it's definitely taken advantage of. But that's how it's designed by God for a reason. Like the man being accountable to God, the woman being accountable to man. You talking about how whenever a man like steps in front and actually leads and protects, like you just melt and become this like damsel in distress. That's innate. Like that is built into our DNA as humans. As like that's our soul. That's our soul like yearning. Yeah. And from a guy's perspective, like as I'm growing as a man, the more that I lead women, like the more that I like step into actual stewardship of like the women relationships in my life, I have that same feeling of like I'm empowered. I'm like, heck yeah, like and it melts me in a different way. It doesn't necessarily melt me into a damsel in distress, right? But it like melts my heart and causes me to be just 10 times more humble and broken, and just out of that, like a phoenix from the ashes, just like, okay, now I want to go, and I like feel empowered do more of this.
Yeah.
I think I've spoken about this before on the pod like a while back, but I'll bring it back. Like, I grew up in a home where like the men didn't necessarily like verbally protect. Like, we physically protected. Like, I learned how to physically protect and be a gentleman, but I didn't necessarily learn how to verbally protect a woman, you know? And I remember the first time that I told my younger sister that she was beautiful was like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That should be something she's hearing from my mouth as a big brother her whole entire life. But like, I didn't learn how to actually say those words. And it took like way too long, even in the moment when I got convicted of it. It took me probably 2 hours of me sitting there next to her, you know, we're like on our computer. But when I finally said the actual words of, hey, I just want to let you know, like, you're beautiful. You are beautiful. You're made in the image of God, but I see you as beautiful. First of all, she immediately cried, like, on the spot. And me, I'm just sitting there like broken at how powerful those words were. Like, those half-assed words, like, you know, like me taking 2 hours to say them in the moment. But when I said them, it had like that level of impact. And then from that point on, it's just like spurred me on to more. I'm like, wow, like, I want more of this responsibility. What do I have to do to get this responsibility?
Yeah.
You know, I want that. I want to lead. I want to like steward the hearts of women well, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's such a perfect example of how if we don't get that at home or we don't get that from Jesus, we're trying to search that through other people. And search for validation.
100%. Yeah. Try to nerd out for 1 second and then we end up back at it. Deep talk.
Well, it's
but
really,
it's the reality. It's the crux of everything. It's like, it's now that we're talking about it, it's hard to get out of it necessarily. You know, you can't talk about creativity. You can't talk about creative genius without the grace of the Lord. It's like one and the same, you know, like it flows out of that. Even the way that we create now and the way that we operate as like business owners and creative directors, even videographers, photographers, whatever you are, like it all flows out of this. This is the center, and then we get to use our gifts in these ways, like in these beautiful ways.
Yeah, even how I storytell now for brands comes from that foundation. And I think it gives the consumer more clarity when it comes from a really an area of truth.
Yeah.
And I have more clarity of how I want to be creative and show how God works in my life and how good He is. That's where now my creativity comes from. It's from Him. It's not from like, oh, I want to see this over sexualized and the, you know, I'm very mindful of what I want to, you know, paint a picture about.
Right. I'm sure you focus more on the story than even the visual aspects now. Would that be true or no?
I mean, I'm still such a visual person. I'm a visual learner.
Not saying that visuals can't tell a story.
Yeah. But I think I have more context now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, it's just like sex. You know, right. as much as you don't think it's like sex, everything's like sexual. Make sure that's sexual.
Right.
That was really like where the thought process came from, which is my own insecurity of this is the only thing.
Yeah, sex sells. That's what they say.
Yeah, but also too, like that was my insecurity with men, right? Like I only have my sexual,
right, you
know, body demonstration to prove to you that I'm worthy of something. So it definitely was like my creative outlet too. Like everything sexual will always do well, right? And now it's deeper meaning storytelling. And none of that is really showing up in what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I always like watching the Super Bowl every year. There's so many, visual stimulating ads. But the ones that have always stuck out to me the most are the ones that kind of like go deeper with storytelling and like strike a chord, whether it's like the Budweiser ad with the horses or the Ram truck ad or Ford truck or whatever, that like tells a story of like small town farmer doing this thing. Those always hit, like they just strike a chord with you.
Yeah.
And like on a human level, it like brings you down. And that always fascinated me because the other ones are cool to look at. You laugh at it. My buddies like made the Doritos ad last year, which is super cool to say, but like those are funny, it's a great story, but the other ads they just sit with me.
Yeah.
And they connected on a deeper level with me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I still remember Folgers in your cup. I mean, that will never go. That will never go away because it was so emotional.
It was emotional. Yeah. The Folgers ring.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about that is we want connection in all forms. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm operating in a very intentional way with people, I want to operate that way in the way I storytell my creativity and work with people. And I want people to emotionally be part of something. I think culture and community is so important when it comes to creativity and branding. Even the evolution of where we're going is everyone wants to get away from the real world, which is, as much as it's evolving into tech and people think it's cool, people are also running from it. Mm-hmm. And they want to get outside and they want to touch grass.
Right. They want to flip phone. They want to get away from the scroll.
Is grass still real?
Yeah. Not all of it, but some of it.
Oh, just to live in a world where that doesn't exist anymore is kind of scary.
I think that's it right there. I think that's the answer. Go touch grass.
It's a real thing. Grounding is a real thing.
Super real.
Yeah, we are super connected to
Just make sure
earth.
not to step in dog poop. If you live like in the city or whatever, if it's turf, double check. It's probably a dog park.
I've definitely stepped in poop.
But ground yourself. Yeah, ground yourself. I like that. It's good. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Genuinely.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't thank you enough for just taking the time. Again, like letting us come in here and record.
Yeah.
Meet you where you are. But just all the conversations, not even just this one. I think thank you for being a good friend to me and my friends and being someone who is not afraid to be vulnerable where you are and grow from where you are. Even just, personally, like our friendship and how it's formed, the grace that you've had for me as I've like figured some certain things out, with like the podcast. So I think we were supposed to originally record this episode 7 months ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can't thank you enough for just how you've approached this whole thing and allowing me to tell your story and have you on. Like it's a true testament to even everything that you're talking about and you have talked about on this podcast. It means a lot.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for seeing that.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Got to go play some pickleball. We got to play some golf soon.
Oh yeah, I'm down for all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to hit the range.
Yeah, I'm game.
Let's
I'm actually going right now.
Oh, right now after this?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Might have to come.
Yeah, come.
Come hit some balls. I love golf. Yeah. Thank you so much.
We did it.
We did it.
Yay.